Ladies and gentlemen, YouTube just made an announcement last week that they're going to be adding a new feature to the platform that is supposed to add context to videos, make them more fair, make them less likely to be spewing misinformation. Because YouTube, as we all know, my friends, especially during the 2020 era, was the arbiter of truth, of all things that were accurate and fair. And they have never dabbled in anything that has not been fair. And so what could go wrong with community notes? Let's get into it, folks. All right, you guys, The Verge released this article. YouTube will soon ask audiences to add context to videos. Now, listen, if you're sensing a little dash, a sprinkle of sarcasm in my voice, I'm laying it on pretty thick, so you probably shouldn't have missed it. And I want to say welcome to everybody. My 82.1% male audience, my 17.9% female audience, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Today we're talking about community notes, folks, and why this is going to be a big problem for creators like you, like me. So it says here, YouTube is testing a way for viewers to add community source context to videos. The feature called Notes will allow people to add bits of information to clarify things like whether a video is a parody or contains older footage presented as a current event. This is not all. This is the way that they're framing it as of right now. I'm going to show you why this is dangerous here in just a second. I'm also going to take you on a walk through history and show you some of the times where YouTube has gotten it wrong because it's YouTube. All right, YouTube says only a limited number of eligible contributors can write notes for now, while third-party evaluators will rate the helpfulness of notes. So basically what they're doing is they're going to bringing in people who can sign up as contributors. And these people will watch videos and then leave notes adding context. And then there will be third-party evaluators who will rate the helpfulness of notes, just like they do on X. And in a second, I'm going to break down how X does it on the Twitter platform. Interchangeable, guys. X and Twitter, same thing. But basically the notes that have the highest ranks are the ones that ultimately win, and those are the ones that are going to appear under videos. Again, they claim it's to add context for, specifically they said, if it's a parody or contains older footage. But in the example that they show right here, let's zoom in, 15 extinct animals you should know. Okay, here's the viewer notes. Some species of the giant tortoise were thought to be extinct, but they were actually found in 2019 on Fernandina Island in the Galapagos Islands. This is neither a parody, nor are they claiming that it's using old footage. This is someone who is contributing a fact check. And that's where things get a little bit weird for me. They continue to say YouTube will eventually start asking viewers whether they consider a note helpful, somewhat helpful, or unhelpful, and to explain why. It will then feed these responses into its algorithm, which will determine whether a note is broadly helpful. Like Twitter, it seems YouTube is trying to keep misinformation at bay by limiting this pilot to a limited number of users and evaluators to start. The problem that I see, you guys, is that Elon Musk, for all intents and purposes, if you go over to the X platform, he is really allowing free speech to take place. Whether you like it or whether you don't, it is a public square where you can basically say anything that you want. Now, again, there are consequences to the things that are said, and there are some people who are getting themselves into trouble for saying things that they probably shouldn't say. But he's allowing free speech. What YouTube is doing is saying, we're going to add context, and they're claiming it's going to be a lot like X. But again, YouTube doesn't have a history that would lend credibility to this claim. Their history is very much removing misinformation, but that is actually okay. It's decent information. YouTube is not only the arbiter of slanted truth, but they're also the suppressor of a lot of speech. For example, now I know a lot of you guys are gonna be upset about this and you're gonna leave it in the comments. And for that one dude who said, I'm not smart enough to bring politics into my content, too bad. Sorry, pal. Here we go. September 27th, 2023, the New York Post wrote this article about how Google suppresses information. In their article, it states, Google is supposed to be a neutral platform and enjoys all the legal protections of a public utility, much like the pipes delivering water to our homes. Thank you for that analogy, New York Post. Instead, its algorithm secretly manipulates search rankings to control opinions, whether it's what you buy or what you know about a politician. It's hard to pin down Google's bias because search results are ephemeral, but MRC Free Speech America gave it a shot this week by recording Google search results for Republican presidential campaign websites on the eve of Wednesday night's Republican primary debate. Lo and behold, only 2 candidates popped up on the first crucial page of search results Monday, and only one was a Republican, Will Hurd, a little-known never-Trumper from Texas who doesn't even have enough support to make it to the debate stage. There was no sign of Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Mike Pence, Tim Scott, or Chris Christie, but there was one other candidate who showed up on page 1 of the Republican search results, fringe Democrat Marianne Williamson, whose real clear politics average doesn't even reach 5%. Maybe that's Google's idea of balance. This is the crap that we're dealing with, you guys. This is what Alphabet is bringing to the table. And I know what a lot of you guys who slant left are saying, heck yeah, man, go libs, suppress the Republicans. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. I don't know if I'm a boy or a girl. But this is dangerous, right? It's only a matter of time before the people that you support, your candidates, are the ones who are being suppressed. This is not balanced. It should be balanced. Over 50% of the United States population leans conservative, has strong family values. And so if Alphabet is doing this, my worry is that YouTube is going to do that with the community notes as well, because they're not very clear on who's going to be their initial contributors. And if third-party evaluators rate something as not helpful, who's to say that the YouTube algorithm isn't going to push it anyway? And if you guys are like, hey, Uncle Raph, you're being a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Well, do you guys remember when YouTube removed the dislike button? Check this out. In November 2021, YouTube removed the public dislike count from all of its videos. While creators can still see the number of dislikes within the YouTube studio, viewers can only see how many likes a video has received. The change was controversial, with many popular YouTubers speaking out. So why did YouTube remove the dislikes? Let's explore. In January 2022, YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki published a letter on the YouTube blog to address the company's plans for 2022. Okay, so listen to this. Here's what she said in her letter. We also saw the dislike count harming parts of our ecosystem through dislike attacks, as people actively worked to drive up the number of dislikes on a creator's videos. These attacks often targeted smaller creators and those just getting started. We want every creator to feel they can express themselves without harassment. That is bullshiz. Like, this is absolutely bullshiz. Remember what happened, you guys. It was after President got elected, and everything that came out for the next year that was posted on YouTube was extraordinarily dislike heavy. The dislikes always outweighed the likes. This is why they removed the dislike button. It wasn't because it was harming small creators. We've been dealing with this for 10 years. There weren't dislike attacks on small creators. Can people organize a group of viewers to go and dislike videos and dislike attacks? No, they can't. But when somebody posts a video that a lot of people disagree with, they go and dislike it. That's what was happening with President. Take a look at this. This video is actually really interesting. Watch this.
Something really strange just happened here, and I figured I better make a video of it. I was just watching this video at the White House YouTube channel where it says President Biden delivers remarks to National Institute of Health staff. It was kind of a strange video because he did the whole talk while wearing his mask, even though he was fairly far away from everybody. Anyway, I happened to reopen the same video in a second tab, and the video reloaded, of course. And all of a sudden I noticed the dislikes went from 2.5.
There you go. They were actively removing dislikes. This is one person, and how can you verify this? I can't fact check it. But I don't think that it's a stretch of the imagination to believe that this was actually going on, because ultimately they just ended up removing the dislike. So they were actively removing dislikes from President N's videos and of the content that he was producing, and people were very, very upset. This represents like a lot of YouTubers. So the question that I really want to ask you guys is, do you think that community notes is going to be unbiased? Do you think that it's going to be balanced? But do you think that when a creator says something that is counter the belief system of the contributor, that there's going to be unfair attacks on the contributor through the community note system? If YouTube is adding context to a video, like, it's totally fine if it's an absolute clickbait video. It's totally fine if there are claims made in this video that are false, or if it's using footage to indicate that there's some natural disaster or event that's going on right now. But I'm talking about just ordinary YouTube videos that slant to the right, that have traditional conservative family values, that talk about things in a way that might be uncomfortable for some of the people who slant to the left. Are the community notes going to be balanced? That's what I'm trying to figure out. There was a research paper done at Duke University. It was about the bias in fact checking. And in the middle of this study, they talk about how there's what's called the Republican penalty. Basically what it says is that if you slant to the right, your fact checking is going to be more intense. And they've got a lot of information and data backing this up. So my point is, it all comes down to who's doing the fact checking. So my question is there going to be balance in the fact checking? Are these contributors going to be ideologically balanced? If history is any indication with Alphabet, then probably not. Now, I wanted to read what the qualifications are to be a contributor on X. Okay, so here's what X says. Community notes do not represent X's viewpoint and cannot be edited or modified by our teams. A post with a community note will not be labeled, removed, or addressed by X unless it is found to be violating X's rules, terms of service, or privacy policy. Failure to abide by the rules can result in one's removal of accessing community notes or other remediations. Anyone can report notes if they believe aren't in accordance with those rules, blah, 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 blah. So the way that X's rules are set up is that people can leave community notes, but X isn't going to remove those posts unless they violate the terms of service. We don't know what's going to happen with YouTube. My hope is that if somebody leaves a nasty community note, then the evaluators come in and say, no, this isn't good, that YouTube actually removes that community note. So that way there isn't bias. There isn't misinformation being spread in the fact check itself. With X, community notes, a collaborative way to add helpful context to posts and keep people better informed. So contributors write and rate notes. Contributors are people on X, just like you, who sign up and write and rate notes. The more people that participate, the better the program becomes. Only notes rated helpful by people from diverse perspectives appear on posts. Okay, so this is very clear. Community notes doesn't work by majority rules. To identify notes that are helpful, a wide range of people, notes require agreement between contributors who have sometimes disagreed in their past ratings. X doesn't choose what shows up, the people do. X doesn't write, rate, or moderate notes unless they break X's rules. We believe giving people a voice to make these choices together is a fair and effective way to add information that helps people stay better informed. It's open source and transparent. I'm not going to have a problem with community notes on YouTube if it is run this way, but I feel like it's extraordinarily important for people to understand what YouTube is trying to do and what their history has been. YouTube has a history of suppression. YouTube has a history of hiding information. YouTube has a history of removing dislikes when they don't benefit some of the people that they are in line with ideologically. And Google doesn't have a history of being fair in the representation of all ideological belief systems. And so this is what I'm concerned about, guys, from a business perspective, from just a human perspective, from somebody who's just trying to build a YouTube channel, being authentic to my belief systems, being authentic to the things that I hold as truth as to what has made me successful, the thought process, the mindsets that I've developed over the last 40 years. It's important for me to be able to speak openly and freely about these things. If I'm worried about this stuff, you should too. And it doesn't matter, again, if you slant to the left, because regardless of where you're at on the left, if there's a platform that's actively trying to program your mind to think certain thoughts and it's hiding information, that's not a good thing. And we should all be aware of that. Anyway, you guys, if you want to watch the real reason why I stopped creating content on a channel with 350,000 subscribers, check out this video right here. We'll catch you on the next one later. Bye.